Hey guys, thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am super excited to bring you my May favorites. May has been a very good month for me and my family. And going along with that, I have a series of disclaimers and explanations to give you. First of all, I am not in my normal filming room and I will never be there again. That is because my husband and I finally sold our house and we are currently moving from the Pacific Northwest directly to the Northeast, New York, which is where I'm from, which is where my husband spent a great many years living himself as well, even though he is originally from the Pacific Northwest. And so I'm getting to move back to my family, which is also his family, but was just kind of originally my family, but it's now our family, and you know what I mean. We're going back to the other half of the family. So currently right now I am in a hotel and I've still got about 2,500 to 3,000 more miles to go before I get to my new home on the other side of the country. And I figured, even though my lighting I'm sure is not fabulous right now, and I'm so upset because I finally got the lighting figured out in my filming room, which you have no idea how hard it is to get your lighting to go just right. So I'm gonna have to figure that all out all over again once I get to the other side of the country. But even though my lighting is not fabulous right now, and I am almost positive I am a distinctly tired hot mess right now just because we've had a crazy couple of weeks packing. By the way, you have no concept of how much you own until you try to put it all in a series of boxes and then actually pick up those boxes. Holy cow, I own a lot of crap. But I am super committed to really trying to get up a video every Friday. So if this is launching and you are watching this on a Friday, then I am ridiculously proud of myself. I'm probably actually doing a happy dance, and if this is launching later than this coming Friday, then I am most definitely a cranky pants. So definitely let's get started on my May favorite. So I have found a new under eye concealer brush. I feel like I'm perpetually on a quest for the best and most awesome under eye concealer brush, because for quite a while I had been using by Sigma the F86 brush, which is just kind of the tapered sort of kabuki brush, and then I picked up on the one by Morphe, which is the G2, which is another similar, slightly poochier but still tapered under eye concealer brush, among other things, but under eye concealer brush. The reason I have not been 100% thrilled with them is because I feel like they're just so big that I wind up applying like highlighting concealer to my nose, and my nose is so huge that it really does not need any brightening concealer to be applied to the sides of it. So recently I came across a brush from Morphe as well. It's the E46, and it is a narrow, tapered, slanted kind of almost like a contour brush, which winds up being perfect to go right underneath my eye and only underneath my eye. So this puppy barely ever gets near my nose, which really is the goal every time I'm trying to apply my under eye concealer. So I think I'm not sure if this was a contour brush or an eye brush. I mean, again, you can use brushes any way you like, but I kind of saw the design of it and I was like, you and my under eye need to meet now. Another brush I like is from Makeup Geek, and I don't know if it's been out for a long time and I just hadn't seen it, but I noticed it this last time when I placed an order for her new spring eyeshadow releases, which I did a review and swatch video on. I will link that video down below. But the brush I purchased at that same time is what she calls the outer V brush, and hey, guess what? That's where it's perfect for your outer V. This brush is the perfect blend of density and size. What am I talking about? Well, when you're doing your outer corner, you want to make sure you're typically using, you know, a darker color. You want to make sure that you apply it where you want to exactly, but at the same time, you don't want the brush to be so stiff that it winds up stamping your outer corner. So this is small enough that it'll hit your outer V awesomely, but it is also soft enough but dense enough so that it's applying shadow directly, but like I said, not stamping it so that you have to do like major blending in order to get it to look good. You just have to do minimal blending, which, I mean, you always have to do minimal blending. I recently did a video called the Lipstick Purse Purge, which is kind of hilarious because I listed out like I think it was 14 lip products that I had in my bag, and I did not explain that I purged any of them. I don't really think I did because I found that they were all pretty necessary. Anyway, I will link that video down below too. But during that video, I was talking about how I had a love-hate relationship with the MAC lip liners because they're so awesome and they're long wearing, but they're like nearly impossible to get on your lips. So maybe it's my own lips. Maybe they're so dry or they're like anti-MAC for some reason. I don't know why, but I always feel like they're a struggle to apply the color, and I wind up going outside my lips and it looks awful. But everybody seems to talk about them, and so I'm still resilient and persistent with it, and I will keep going. But I'm always looking for a lip liner that is easy to apply and long wearing. And so I finally kind of just gave in because it's a little bit pricey. I purchased by Charlotte Tilbury the Lip Cheat lip liners, and so I had resisted them, one because of the price. They're $20 plus, I think about $22. They're also a sharpening pencil. They're not you know, a mechanical pencil that you would kind of twisty windy up, which I think is important when you're kind of throwing lip liners in your bag for the day. You don't want to be stuck like with an unsharpened pencil, and you don't want to sharpen your pencil inside your bag. There's like major drama when it comes to lip liners that you have to sharpen. But anyway, I tried it. I got the color Pillow Talk, which is kind of just like a neutrally pink. Okay, so let's chat about this lip liner. The bugger that is $22 and oh so fabulous. It is creamy to apply. It is comfortable to wear because some of my drugstore ones, even though they're fabulous, like by NYX and by Rimmel, I feel like they're a little sticky, and I feel like on the outer corners of my lips are like kind of sticking together at the lip liner points, and it's not 100% pleasant. So this one is comfortable to wear, and it is also long wearing. Can we just talk about this? Like, it's not going anywhere. And I'm so grumpy because I really wanted to hate it, but at the same time, I've been looking for a really good, comfortable, creamy, long wearing lip line. That's like a trifecta of fabulousness in a single tiny little pencil. That I still am grumpy about is too much money, but at the same time, it's too much money because it's so fabulous. Okay, so now that it looks like I just threw MAC under the bus when it comes to their pencils, I actually really do like their eyeliners. And for a while, or let's say way back in the day, I was always using kind of eyeliner on my lower lash line, kind of to accentuate my cow dimensional eyes that I have because they're so big. I have a big nose and big eyes, so at least they kind of complement each other, because imagine if one was tiny, one was large, I would be like a disproportionate Picasso right there. So I had been using eyeliners for a while, and then I had gotten into the trend of using my shadows as a lower lash liner, which is really awesome. It totally opens the door with all of the color possibilities that you can have, and it's a very soft line. You don't have to worry about blending. But most especially the last couple of weeks where I have had minimal time to do makeup. In fact, when I realized I was filming this video, I was so excited because I was like, I get to put makeup on because I've been so busy and I've only been doing like the bare minimum. Part of that makeup routine on a daily basis while I'm trying to pack up my entire life involve using some eyeliner again. And this one is by MAC. It's called Buried Treasure. It's really creamy. It is a kind of a green gray, almost like a green gray, and I feel like it complements my green eyes really nicely. Kind of goes with my dark lashes. I have very dark lashes, and so I feel like it blends in very nicely with that without looking too harsh. I can apply it and not really blend it if I use a very light hand, or I can kind of smudge it out and kind of go for a little bit more of a dramatic look. It is pretty long wearing. It doesn't bother my eyes, and I think the color itself is very unique. I'm a little bit distracted right now. Did I mention the name of it? It's called Buried Treasure. Yeah, now that sounds familiar. I think I already mentioned it. I really have to get my stuff together here. Anyway, so for May, I have had a really good liner month. Pencil liner month. I've talked a number of times here about how I'm a tremendous fan of the Hourglass powders. I have one of their blushes. I have a couple of their strobe lighting powders. And for many years, I've been using the Ambient lighting powders. I had originally purchased and loved quite a lot the Luminous Light Ambient lighting powder, and that's kind of like a peachy, sort of peachy beigey sort of color, and it just complemented my skin very, very nicely and gave me some dimension without giving me too much highlight, especially since I use a lot of mattifying foundations based on the consistency of my skin. And so I realized I wanted a setting powder for underneath my eyes that was brightening, but not too much. A lot of people use, for example, the Anastasia banana powder, or within all of the contour kits, there's always kind of that yellow toned powder. I found that with all of those yellow based powders, they were all just a little bit too yellow for my skin, maybe because my skin does have some yellow in it inherently, you know, like it's an olive based skin tone. And so my face was not getting along with the banana powders, but I wanted something that was a little bit more brightening than just a translucent setting powder. And so I heard, or I had researched, and I found that people were using the ambient lighting powders sometimes as under eye, not so much setting powders, but just kind of brightening powders. So I picked up Diffused Light, which is kind of a pale yellow gold with like a white base to it, so it's not like Goldie Gold, you know, Goldie Gold. So the way that I was using it, first of all, I can use it as an all over, just kind of real light dusting setting powder if I want to add a little bit of dimension to my face. But I have been applying it directly and distinctly under my eye with a very light hand. And so it will wind up brightening my under eyes without applying too much yellow. And I just live for the ambient powders because they're just like top-notch powders. They're quite a bit expensive, but it's kind of mandatory because they really do make a really good powder. So if my type A personality were actually sufficiently in check right now, but I've been involved in so much chaos and distraction, and I've had to make like 5,000 decisions in a very short period of time, trying to pack and move and decide what to keep and whatnot. If my type A personality were doing its job, then I would have talked about my next product prior to the Hourglass powder, because this product gets applied first. This is the RCMA No Color Setting Powder. And so I have been using this distinctly as my under eye setting powder. I don't always use the Hourglass Diffused Light setting powder on top of it, or lighting powder on top of it, but I have been setting my makeup under my eyes and then sometimes all over my face with this No Color powder. It is a very fine powder. I almost feel like you could make like a snowball out of this powder because it's so fine and so like delicate that I want to like mold it together in a ball. I don't know. That's just what I feel when I see it. So this is a no color powder, which is a little misleading because if you apply too much, it definitely will give a hint of white, which is easily manageable. You just dust it away with a very light brush and a very light hand. It will take away whatever whiteness you might see yourself building on your skin, just in case you apply it a little bit too heavy. But it is so finely milled and just so creamy actually that it winds up being a really nice under eye setting powder. And it's like 3 ounces for like $10 or $12, I forget exactly. Completely worth the money, which is ironic since I just talked about a very expensive setting powder by Hourglass. But if you're looking for a powder that doesn't really have any color, which conveniently is why they call it the no color powder, then this is absolutely worth the money. Kind of hard to find because it has been so popular ever since. I believe it was Kathleen Lights who mentioned this powder. It kind of took off and was completely sold out after that, and I finally was able to get some after being waitlisted. So what I've been doing is using this to set my under eye concealer, and then if I chose to brighten my under eye a little bit, I would follow up with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. So these guys are definitely my 2 new favorite buddies. They've got like the buddy system going on underneath my eye. Finally, I feel like I've got a summertime blush. This is by Clinique. It's the Cheek Pops. I can't get it open. These are sometimes hard to get open. Oh, for Pete's sake. There it goes. I've been using Peach Pop, which I find that all of these blushes this entire line looks so dark in the pan. And then as it turns out, they're super buildable, which I really like, especially in the summer. These blushes also kind of have like a satin finish because they're not frosted or anything, but they do have they have a sheen to them. I've been going for a lot of warm eye looks. I've been loving the Sweet Peaches peach palette. And so I find that this blush complements those warm eye looks that I've been doing, and really just any warm eye looks, not just in the Sweet Peaches palette, but just any sort of warm, springy, summertime eye look that you're going for. I find myself reaching for this for just that pop of color. Pop of color, Cheek Pops, pop of color. Why do I always figure these things out on camera? So that is what I've been loving in the month of May. That in addition to the fact that my house sold. So like I said, it's been a pretty good month. Hopefully my outdoor lighting cooperated with me. I've been watching the sun go in and out of the clouds and I was like, sunshine right now, I loathe you. So hopefully that turned out okay. Hopefully my focus and all of that good stuff came out okay. Like I said, it was really important to me to stick to my commitment of a video every Friday. And so despite unideal conditions, which I don't think is a word, but I'm gonna go with it right now anyway. I hope you had a good time with me today. Thank you so much for watching. What have you been loving during the month of May? I would love to read your comments as I'm probably still driving across the country. So anyway, definitely leave me a comment down below of what you've been loving during the month of May. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you aren't one of my subscribers already, I would love to have you. So definitely hit the subscribe button before you go. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I hope you have a really good rest of the day. And in the meantime, thanks.
So let me just say that I had my microphone take a crap on me because the battery exploded inside of it, of course. And I forgot to pack the attachment so that I could put my camera on my tripod. So right now it's kind of like balancing on there. So I'm just kind of waiting for my bloopers to include the camera suddenly, very slowly, falling backwards and looking up. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I am definitely anticipating that that happens. And now I have stripies. There are distinct stripies on my face. I am going to take that as a cue to stop talking and probably go do some more driving.